You know, when we think of ancient history, we usually picture things that have just crumbled away, lost to the slow march of time. But today, there's a whole new battle being fought. And it's not against decay, it's against the deliberate, violent destruction of our shared cultural heritage. And the surprising way we're fighting back? Well, it involves creating what you might call digital ghosts, all powered by some pretty incredible technology.
This whole fight became painfully, horribly real back in 2015. I'm sure you remember this. The world just watched in horror as these videos came out of ISIL members taking sledgehammers to priceless, millennia-old artifacts in the Mosul Museum. To them, these statues were idolatry, and they wanted to literally erase them from history. That act of destruction, which UNESCO rightly called a war crime, well, it ended up being the catalyst for a total revolution in digital preservation.
And look, Mosul wasn't a one-off thing. All across the globe, whether it's conflict zones or places hit by natural disasters, our history is incredibly fragile. These physical links to our past, they can be wiped out in an instant. And when they go, so does the chance for anyone in the future to study them, to appreciate them. So you gotta ask, right? How do we even begin to fight back against this kind of erasure?
The first answer, and this is the cool part, it didn't come from some crazy, futuristic new invention. Nope. It came from a really clever use of technology we already had. Photogrammetry. It's this fascinating process that can essentially take a whole bunch of flat 2D photos and turn them into a full-on 3D object. A few innovators realized that the key to rebuilding the past was already sitting in our pockets and on our camera rolls.
And this is what led to this amazing project called Recray, which actually started out as Project Mosul. The idea was just brilliant in its simplicity. First, they put out a call to the entire world basically saying, hey, send us your vacation photos, your tourist snapshots, any pictures you have of the artifacts that were in the Mosul Museum. Then, special software analyzes all of these photos, and by comparing all the different angles, it can digitally stitch them together to rebuild the object in 3 dimensions. It's literally turning our collective memory into a digital object.
And you know what? It worked. It worked unbelievably well. In just the first 3 months, this crowdsourced effort, from regular people all over the world, mind you, produced 15 stunningly accurate 3D models of artifacts that everyone thought were gone forever. It was this powerful proof that, yeah, digital preservation could be a collaborative community thing.
Okay, so photogrammetry is incredible if you have lots of photos. But that brings up a new, much tougher question. What happens when you don't have hundreds of tourist pictures to pull from? What if all that's left of an entire historic building is one single old, damaged photograph with huge chunks missing? How do you possibly rebuild what was never even captured in the first place?
All right, to solve this, we have to take a massive leap forward into the world of artificial intelligence. See, the next generation of these tools, they don't just stitch images together, they actually teach a machine to think like a master art restorer. To look at a damaged picture, understand the context, and then intelligently in-paint or fill in the missing pieces. So how on earth does an AI actually do this? Well, a lot of the magic is in this clever architecture called a U-Net. Think of it like this. The left side of the U is the encoder. It takes the damaged image and kind of boils it down, trying to understand its most essential features, like the essence of the building. Then the right side, the decoder, takes that core understanding and rebuilds the image from the ground up, using what it's learned to intelligently fill in all the holes and restore the lost details. And the results are just wow. This same AI technology that can fix a flat photo can also be used on complex 3D scans. On the left, you see the raw scan of an interior space. It's just a big old jumble of points, right? But on the right, look at that. That's after the AI has processed it. It doesn't just see data, it sees walls, furniture, different objects. It actually understands the scene with incredible accuracy, which is absolutely crucial if you want a believable restoration. Now, the secret sauce to why this AI is so good is a technique that basically teaches it to focus only on what's real. So instead of getting all confused by the empty, damaged parts of a photo, it learns to just ignore the holes. It bases its entire restoration only on the good information that's still there. This is what stops it from making silly mistakes and lets it fill in the gaps with some serious accuracy.
Okay, so we've digitally saved our heritage. We've used tourist photos to rebuild statues. We've used AI to restore damaged images. But wait, that brings up another really critical question, right? Now that we have all this priceless digital data, how do we store it and make absolutely sure it's safe, secure, and can never ever be tampered with or lost again?
Well, the answer is a technology you've probably heard of, but maybe not in this context. Blockchain. At its heart, a blockchain is really just a digital record book, or a ledger, that's copied and spread out across a whole bunch of computers. It's this decentralized design that makes it incredibly secure and, for all practical purposes, impossible to change. Here's how it works for our digital artifacts. Every single piece of restoration data, the 3D model, its history, who worked on it, all of that gets stored in a block. That block is then cryptographically linked to the one before it, creating a chain. Now, this doesn't just make it secure, it makes our digital heritage provably authentic. If anyone tries to alter a record, it breaks the entire chain. It's like a permanent, tamper-proof digital library catalog, where the integrity of our resurrected history is guaranteed. Forever.
So, let's bring all this together. We've got a way to crowdsource and rebuild objects, we have a way to restore damaged images with AI, and now we have a way to secure that data forever. And the thing is, this isn't just theory anymore. It's a proven, effective new frontier for cultural preservation.
The data really speaks for itself here. This table compares the new AI restoration algorithm to other top methods. Now, don't worry about the acronyms. PSNR and SSIM are just technical ways of measuring how accurate and high quality a restored image is. All you need to know is that higher numbers are better. And as you can see, this new method comes out clearly on top. It just delivers superior quality.
And on top of being better, it's also more practical. Research shows this new integrated approach is about 25% more efficient. And a 25% boost in efficiency, that is huge. It means these powerful restoration tools can be used more widely, not just in some high-tech, well-funded lab, but by cultural heritage organizations all over the world.
And all of this, it leaves us with this really fascinating, almost philosophical question. Technology has now given us the power to create a perfect digital surrogate, a kind of ghost of our history that can actually outlive its physical form. It really forces us to redefine what preservation even means in the 21st century. I mean, if a monument has gone from the physical world, but it lives on perfectly in the digital one, is it really lost at all?